Hey there, welcome back to my channel. I'm Cybersecurity Mag, and I'm super stoked that you're here. We're going to be discussing motivation to help you achieve and obtain your 2021 professional goals. Ooh, 2021, it's almost here. Thank goodness I'm not the only one who's of that mindset. Before I get into those kind of motivational tips and how to best plan to achieve your professional goals, I do want to put a side note here that if you were affected by the COVID pandemic, perhaps you lost your job or you got knocked down from full time to part time, whatever it may be. If there's anything I can do to help you that is in the cybersecurity or perhaps IT related realm, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at my email address that's in my profile on YouTube or Instagram, wherever. If I can help by reviewing a resume, by recommending a career path, or kind of recommending anything that might help you get on the right track to get a job, then I'm really happy to do so, so please let me know. That said, let's get into it. When I'm planning out my professional career goals for the next year, what I always want to do is update myself on what exact resources my company provides me with that will help me obtain those professional goals. Knowing how much money or what training or what books or what platforms are available to me really helps shape what exactly I decide to go after. So, what I mean by that is, and I know this won't be applicable to everyone, I realize and recognize that I'm extremely blessed and grateful to work for a company that extends resources to employees. It may not be that situation for everyone, but what I do recommend is making sure to update yourself, whether it be with your management, with your HR department, whoever would know most or be most knowledgeable on what is available to you. Does your company offer tuition reimbursement? If they do, how much are they going to be reimbursing? I think generally this is contingent upon what state you live in the United States. I don't see this offered a lot in the European Union where I'm at. Is your company going to provide a specific budget for you to take certifications? Will they offer to pay for you to have access to Cybrary or to Udemy? Do they have a group code platform? Usually, if you work for a medium to large slash enterprise business, a lot of these platforms such as Cybrary, Udemy, what have you, they offer group discount codes where you and your entire team can get access to their platform. Another good one to ask and find out about is whether your company will buy you books, textbooks. So, usually, when I ask my company to buy textbooks, I do it under the premise, or rather, we do it under the premise that the textbook isn't owned by me. Obviously, I didn't pay for it, but I'll share it with everyone in my team. So, for instance, this year, when I went to attain my CISSP certification, I purchased a couple of books. I took the exam. Once I finished using those books, I just passed them out to my colleagues who were looking to take the exam soon. That way, the book isn't just purposed for me and it's not going to get any more use once I'm finished with it, but it's going to be used by many people on my team. So, first and foremost, you need to understand what exact parameters you're going to be working with, what kind of opportunities you are being presented from your company, and then that kind of gives you a better picture of how much money you might need to spend out of pocket for yourself to accomplish your 2021 goals. Once I have a good understanding of what exactly I'm working with in terms of resources from both my company and what may be expected from myself, that's when I really start to sit down and plan out what exactly I want to achieve. And my first rendition of this is an exhaustive list of if I could achieve anything in 2021 professionally, what would I achieve? I don't limit myself. I shoot for the stars, all that cheesy stuff. If I can dream it, if I can think of it, I'm going to put it down on paper just because I want to see what exactly is in my head, what I'm passionate about, where I'm thinking about steering my career. I want to be able to know. I want to be able to see it on paper and have it organized. After I have an exhaustive list planned out, this is where I'm going to go back and I'm going to be a little bit more realistic. I like separating my goals into three different categories. Mine personally are along the terms of an easily obtained goal. That's my first category. The second category being a realistic goal. The third category is more of a reach slash stretch, which usually is more expensive. It'll take a lot of time, that kind of thing. Once I have all my goals organized out into these three different categories, it really gives me more insight into what I can realistically obtain in 2021 and what I might need to cut out or push back for another fiscal year. So once I have all of those goals outlined and I know how much effort and how much money they're going to cost, because it's really important, at least in my opinion, to write down exactly how much things are going to cost, especially if you're working on a budget from your company and the resources they're going to give you for that fiscal year. I want to know exactly what the roadmap is that I can expect reasonably to achieve these goals by. This is where having those kind of containers for how hard a goal is to achieve being set out really comes into play. For my easily accomplished goals, I usually suspect these will take anywhere from like 1 to 2 months, maybe even shorter if it's an entry level certification or just a training that I'm wanting to take. For my realistically achieved goals, I suspect these will take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. And the long term goals, these can take anywhere from 6 months to a full year. And so once I have that identified, I make a roadmap on when exactly I want to achieve the things by. Obviously, if you have one or two long term goals and perhaps they cost a lot of money, there's a lot of studying involved. An example might be the OSCP, the Offensive Security Certified Professional Certification. This generally takes quite a few months of studying, and it's a relatively expensive certification to try to obtain between actually taking the certification and getting access to the PWK labs and resources. You might want to mark this as a realistic goal, which might take 3 to 6 months for you, or perhaps if you're newer to the field, you might want to allot 6 months to 1 year for it. And that's where you're going to sit down and decide, hey, how long is this going to take me to achieve? And what kind of studying do I need to put into it? Everything like that. You're going to map out, I can realistically achieve this in February. I can have this done by June. And then this last goal, it might take me all the way until fiscal year of 2022. So that's where you're kind of building that map of how exactly you're expecting everything to take. Once you have a roadmap of what timelines you're looking at, I also like to map out my goals to what benefits they're going to be giving me. So, personally, if something's going to raise your salary automatically, obviously you might want to put more pressure or prioritization into accomplishing this and then kind of put some of the other goals to the sidelines. So, having a prioritization over everything is really key, at least for me. You always want to connect your goal to how it's going to benefit you. Is it going to make your job more efficient? Is it going to get you a salary? Are you going to get a promotion? Will it make it easier for you to get a new job? Map the things that you're trying to achieve to what they will bring to you and benefit. And honestly, I find that this helps keeps me really motivated because I know what the end goal is and I know what's going to be coming to me in benefits once I achieve it. A really big tip that I have for goal achieving in 2021 is to proactively set dates and times on your Outlook calendar or whatever tool you're using, even if it's on your cell phone, so that you can have some time to check in with yourself on where you're at with your goals. This is important because oftentimes when we get into the middle of a new year, these goals kind of get out of sight, out of mind. We're working on projects, we're not thinking too much about them and you kind of lose track of them. However, if you have these reminders set up and it pops up constantly on your phone or in your Outlook, and it's like, hey, go check on your goals, refresh, and see where you're at. Are you on track to achieve them? This helps you set apart that time where you can really spend it with yourself, look inside of yourself, assess where you're at. If it's not realistic for you to achieve that goal by the timeline you originally thought, then you can kind of reorganize and reprioritize what exactly you want to be finishing in the time you have left in the year. So, one thing that I also really like to think about is if the time passes when I expected to accomplish a goal, but I have not, I sit there and I think to myself, why did I not accomplish the goal that I set for myself? I made sure I had the right resources. I made sure things were financially planned out. I road mapped out the time that I would need to take for it. So, what went wrong? Was it a failure on my end where I estimated incorrectly how much time it would take? Was I lacking in motivation? I really like to be honest with myself and assess where did I go wrong? Why didn't I accomplish my goal? What failed? How can I do better? All those different things. The key to this is being completely honest with yourself. You can't just, excuse me for the language, but you can't just bullshit to yourself and say, oh, I didn't obtain my last three goals because I didn't have the motivation to do it. I just didn't feel like doing it. You really need to be assessing why did you not have the motivation to obtain your professional goal. I know that's applicable obviously outside of your professional life, but for me, I find that attaining my professional goals really also helps attaining my personal goals. Sometimes for me, they're two in one, they kind of fall into both categories. So it's never okay for me to not re look inside of myself and go back and find out why I didn't accomplish something. I always need to know what went wrong, how can I fix it? The last point that I want to make is that you should always be celebrating your successes, no matter how small they are, and you should even celebrate the times where you fail, so long as you're making a solid attempt and putting in a ton of your effort into it. So celebrate the smallest steps. If it's just getting yourself to study for 1 hour twice a week and you manage to do that consistently, celebrate it. Maybe order in a pizza, maybe go for a walk, safe distance with a friend. Anything you can do to keep yourself motivated and on track to reach your professional goals. I hope this video has been insightful for you. I personally have really big professional goals for 2021. I'm like, come on, 2021, let's go. Let's do it. I'm ready for you. This is the last video I'll be putting up before Christmas, so I hope you have the best of Christmas, that you get to stay safe, perhaps get to see your family on Zoom or virtually, and I'll see you next week where I'll wish you a happy New Year's. But if I don't see you before then, happy New Year's, and I hope 2021 is the best of them all. Ciao.